Nityanandam. Once I asked my students in a yoga class, name me one pattern they want to break free from. And guess what? Laziness pattern came out to be the top. As you can see, many people are stuck in the pattern of laziness. So in this video, I'm going to expound about the laziness pattern from the spiritual context and what it will cause in our life and how we can break free from laziness pattern. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Ma Nityadugananda. This is my YouTube channel, Your Presence Heals. Laziness, let me define what is laziness first. Laziness is maintaining the habitual mental pattern of behavior in response to new situation. As a result of that, nothing new can be experienced. You are repeating the same past encounters, creating a certain kind of stagnation in your life. That's why, which can result in either boredom or depression. So this is the definition of laziness. And you should know that there are three types of laziness. One, physical laziness, meaning inability to maintain this body in terms of breaking free from the lethargy and dullness. Inability to handle the body, to take responsibility for the body is physical laziness. Second, the second layer of laziness is mental laziness, meaning inability to basically use the cognition of the mind to be able to understand the deeper truth of the inner and the outer world. Not having the ability to understand the deeper concepts of inner world and outer world. Choosing to be in ignorance and being stuck in the ignorance, that is mental laziness. Third layer of laziness is spiritual laziness, meaning inability to take the inspiration from the higher truth, from the higher consciousness, and constantly keeping yourself alive and drill yourself with all this higher cognition of consciousness. That is spiritual laziness. So basically, as a spiritual seeker, the first thing that we need to break is laziness pattern. Why? Because when laziness becomes a pattern, even maintaining the body becomes a problem. Not only just not able to expand on the mental capacity, even maintaining the body becomes a problem. That's why a lot of those modern diseases like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, even arthritis, these ailments, which we call the common chronic diseases, they are actually curable. But the root cause of such diseases are related to pattern of laziness. They're not able to maintain an active lifestyle to keep the body healthy. And due to also the unconscious pattern and the poor lifestyle habit, which cause them to develop such chronic diseases. So you should know that whenever we develop pattern of laziness, it will lead us to not only a big mess with the body, also going through psychological torture and emotional pain, depression, because we're not able to handle ourselves. So basically, in short, laziness is a spiritual disorder, a conscious cancer that every seeker should get out of, should break free from this pattern. I remember my guru, Paramsasri Nityananda, when he talked about the pattern of laziness, when he was expounding on the Bhagavad Gita in 2011, he talked about the importance of breaking free. All his disciples should break free from the pattern of laziness, because not only laziness is actually a choice, just like how we choose to live with activism, or we can also choose to become inactive. See, choosing inaction, it is still a choice. We are responsible for that decision. It is not something that is forced upon us. So choosing to be active or be in laziness, it is a choice by the being. So whatever that comes with the laziness pattern, we're responsible for it, whether it's diseases, whether it's depression, or whether it's getting stuck in life. Laziness is responsible for many of the problems we are encountering in our life. So basically, we have to break free from the laziness pattern. In fact, he said that the first layer of laziness that we should break free is the body. Our ability to break free from the dullness, lethargy, which can be done through yoga, and also adjusting your sleep pattern. For instance, he said that in the 24 hours of the day, there are a few time hours where the laziness pattern gets strengthened. The first 2 hours is from 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. That 2 hours band, we should not be sleeping. We should be waking up to do our sadhana, our yoga practice or meditation, all that, our spiritual practices. When you don't sleep during these 2 hours band, you will be able to break free from the laziness pattern. That's why all yogis, spiritual seekers, they start their day by waking up early to do their practice during the time we call the Brahma Muhurta time. Okay. Now the second time 2-hour time belt where laziness pattern get strengthened is 2 hours after lunch. Now 2 hours after lunch, do not fall into siesta, which is taking a nap. That 2 hours also strengthen the laziness pattern. So you should be savvy enough to know these times that work against our body and our consciousness. So if you know that these two time bands of 4 hours of the day that you should not be sleeping, be very clear, then you will be able to have the ability to break free from the laziness pattern. So that's one of the technique that he gave. The second technique is basically whenever the thought current of laziness start to occupy your space, breast cancer, just unclutch and drop this idea and start to choose activism, choose to be active, doing something productive, doing something meaningful, doing something that enriches not only yourself and others. That way, continuously enriching, raising yourself to the next level, raising yourself to the higher consciousness in terms of higher possibility. And you will see that by just doing that, you will start to move away from those negative thoughts of laziness. Basically, those thoughts that make you fall into laziness. So that's another technique that he gave. And the next technique, he also said that basically, whenever we fall into laziness, be very clear. You micromanage your thought current. What triggers that decision to remain inactive, to be lazy? Like for instance, in the morning, you know that you should be waking up to do the yoga routine. But the moment you awake and the alarms rings, the mind will say, I just want to sleep for 5 more minutes. Oh no, maybe I'll do the yoga tomorrow instead of today. That thought current, if it comes out, immediately jump out of bed. Do not entertain that thought current and just go and choose the opposite of the laziness thought current. And you simply get out of that, because the moment you start the momentum of working out with the body, whether it's in yoga or spiritual practices, you simply see that at the end of it, you will feel that it was such a best decision to have start the day early with your spiritual practices. So these are some of the very, very important techniques that you can break your laziness pattern. And one more thing you should know is your diet. See, laziness also can be symptomatic of wrong diet, where lots of toxin, a lot of impure food are being consumed. When you have a lot of impure food being consumed, all those toxins start to stay in the body, creating that lethargy, the inertia to move the body. When the inertia is start to become part of your life, be very clear, laziness has become your way of lifestyle. And I remember my gurus, his name, as I mentioned, Paramsa Sri Nityananda, also known as Swamiji. He said that a lazy body is the residence of the devils. Understand? That means you're allowing yourself to, create more and more spiritual problem when you have laziness pattern. So it is really, really important that we should break free from the laziness pattern. In fact, a lot of chronic diseases like diabetes, arthritis, high cholesterol, even high blood pressure, all this can be cured if we get back to the active lifestyle, getting back to a healthy lifestyle. And it is not true that they are not curable. They can be cured. Just have a change of the lifestyle and the mental setup, which created the diseases in the first place. So these are some of the techniques that that you can give a try. Basically, two things I want to mention for a pattern to grow in us. Just need two things. One, laziness. Second, giving up mood. That means giving up on yourself. When these two things become your mental pattern, that means you are actually creating a fertile ground for more and more patterns to develop in you. So laziness and the mood of giving up, not even want to try. These two are just the ingredients for patterns to start to develop, become part of you. Okay? So understand, ability to keep yourself active, alive daily is the greatest wealth that you can have. And laziness is the worst poverty that you can have when you are constantly keeping yourself alive, active, and knowing that so much that you can experience. Because at the end of the day, I remember Lord Krishna say, raise yourself by yourself. Do not let yourself down by yourself. You are the one who gives respect to the self, and you're also the one who deceives the self. So whenever you're raising yourself to the higher possibility and reaching yourself to the next level of consciousness, you are your best friend. Whenever you are not raising yourself, you're your worst enemy in the spirituality. So with that, I would like to conclude this video. Feel free to ask any question. Thank you, Nityananda.